social support. Stressors in general are psychological in nature. The coping strategies, though chosen by the individual concerned, may sometimes involve the support of the significant others in the society. Given the Indian socio-cultural setup, one important method of coping is by seeking social support. The title is self-explanatory and needs no further clarifications. The crucial issues in coping through seeking social support are the context and the outcome. One has to first judge if the situation is beyond one's own control so as to warrant social support. Secondly, whether one has tapped the right source of support to result in the desired outcome. Used judiciously, coping through social support reaps good results, but if used indiscriminately, it boomerangs. In the first episode, Lakshmi is fond to seek social support for every small and odd jobs. But in the second episode, we see Sunil, whose aptitude is for fine arts. But his father forces him to join engineering. It is beyond his control to convince his father. Let us watch how these processes work in these cases.
Hi, Sunil. Have you paid the fees? Come on, yeah. I can give you a lift.
Go ahead, yeah.
Sunil, what's wrong? You look upset.
Definitely. You would have known if you would have been in my position.
Your position, what's wrong with it? After all, you got a seat in engineering, isn't it?
That is a problem.
I don't understand.
I got a seat in engineering.
Then?
I prefer fine arts. A course in painting.
That's good. What stops you?
My father.
Can you be a little clearer?
Listen, my father wants me to be an engineer, and he shouts at me at the mention of fine arts. He says it's a useless course.
Try convince him.
Convincing? It's not easy. Not for me. Definitely not for me. Perhaps yes. Hey, perhaps yes, it's possible.
What is possible?
Convincing my father. Kishan uncle can do it. Bye. I'll take his help. Uncle, you have to talk and convince Daddy somehow.
Beta, don't worry. Take it from me. I'll do my best.
I just don't like engineering. My dream is fine arts.
Relax, relax. Don't worry. If you're so convinced about it, I'm sure I can talk to your father. I'm sure he'll understand.
I do hope so, uncle.
Don't worry. You're a budding painter. You have lots to do in future. Come, let's go.
Well, in my view, Sunil did not cope with any problem. It is Kishan uncle who coped with the problem.
I would put it this way. Sunil had a problem. He was under stress. So, what he did was he mobilized support from Kishan uncle. It is Sunil who had the problem. It is Sunil who sought support from Kishan uncle. He only used Kishan uncle as an instrument to solve his problem.
Well, how do you define this kind of a coping? Do you call it coping through social support?
Seeking social support can be typically defined as sharing the burden with somebody who can provide either a concrete support or an emotional support. When somebody is under a stress, there are ripples created at two different levels. One, the problem at hand is there. The other one, the emotional disturbance that it causes. So, both are equally important, and you will have to solve both the problems in order to reach your homeostasis. So here one can either seek concrete support by seeking a solution to the problem in reality, or one can seek some emotional solace from some others, which will comfort them and which can be used as a balm to the pain created by the stress.
Talking from a broader perspective of the national and international relations, I think the same kind of a coping strategy applies when a nation faces serious calamity like flood, famine, or even earthquake, and the other nations, apart from just sending some condolences messages, offer some concrete support in the form of relief teams, food, and the other things. But in that case, the relations are rather governed by the UN Charter, the Code of Conduct of the UN, and the judgment of the countries about the receiving and the country offering it about the support.
Even at individual level, offering or seeking social support is definitely guided by some code of conduct. And in fact, social support performs two different functions, and these two different functions are: one, maintaining general psychological well-being; two, providing a buffering effect, that is, managing the stress that is created. In case of maintaining psychological well-being, normally the socialization that we take up, we socialize, and the social activities that we perform, that is to maintain the general psychological well-being of the individual. At the same time, the social support network should also be useful for an individual who is under deep stress, a calamity, a catastrophe. When one faces, there should be some agents who would function as shock absorbing agents. This is very important in order to help the individual under stress come back to homeostasis. However, whether these two functions are being performed effectively or not depends upon the discretion used by the person who is seeking the social support, and also the discretion used by the person who is offering it.
Well, what sort of discretion?
Discretion on three aspects. One, the individual should first of all judge and appraise whether the situation is such that is beyond his control so as to warrant some support from outside. If it is well within his control, he need not seek social support. Second, the person should, once he decides that he needs some sort of support from outside and he has to tap his social support network, then he has to decide which part of the network he has to tap. In other words, who is the individual who has the potential and capability to solve this problem, either concretely or emotionally. 3, once he identifies the person, one should judge the attitudes of the person from whom he is seeking social support. That is, will the person be willingly providing social support to him, or will he be considered a nuisance to the other person? Without appropriate discretion, it may produce negative result.
Negative results? Well, you can call it, it will not produce the desired result, but calling it negative result, I think it's far-fetched.
Not exactly. One may have a positive result out of social support. One may not have any result, but there are times when seeking social support might produce negative result. This is called negative social support. This is a concept which is newly developed. Having no result is better than having a negative result. I think I can give you the example of Lakshmi.
Hello, Mr. Verma. How are you, Mrs. Verma?
Hello. You seem to be late from work today.
Yes, what to do, Mr. Verma? There is so much work in the office, you see, and I'm feeling so tired and drained out. By the way, are you going to the vegetable market?
Yes?
Will you do me a little favor? Can you pick up a few things from the supermarket? Of course, you'll have to walk a little beyond the vegetable market, but I need them urgently, you see, and I feel so tired.
But Lakshmi,
Please.
Okay, give me the list.
we must let her know what a nuisance she is.
Here it is.
We'll buy them only if possible. You know how heavy vegetables are, don't you?
What a lousy day. And what lousy friends. And a lousy boss. Boss indeed. He won't grant me leave. Hello, 867931. Am I speaking to Mr. Srinivas? Good evening, Uncle. Lakshmi here. Uncle, I have a problem again. Yes, problem in the office. Last time you spoke to my boss, he cancelled my transfer. But now, no, it's not a case of transfer now. You see, Uncle, we planned a trip to Mysore and everything is arranged. And now, he doesn't want to grant me leave. Uncle, you must speak to him. Last time you spoke, he did listen to you. Speak to him, Uncle, please.
Look, Lakshmi, I can't talk to him about such petty things. You should be able to tackle it yourself. I have helped you on many occasions. But this time, I think I should say sorry.
Well, I think Lakshmi has stretched it a bit too far. And from what you said, it is very apparent that she has built up a reputation of falling back onto others at the drop of a. And that is also confirmed by her telephonic talk to her uncle, Srinivas, just for a trivial issue like a leave. She just wanted his support to get the leave. But I also feel that in her case, the social support mechanism did not work properly, and the others did not support her. If only she received support from Mr. Srinivas and Mr. Verma, like Sunil received the support from his uncle, maybe her problem would have been solved, and she would not have faced that kind of a problem, or she would have been happy with the support given by others.
I would rather say that Lakshmi's distress increased not because of not having social support, but it is due to negative support that she received. I would like to reiterate here that not receiving support is something, whereas receiving a negative support is something else. Not receiving a social support, or where the social support fails, it only fails to facilitate you. But just as it happened in case of Vermas, Verma said that they would help or oblige Lakshmi only if the load of the bag permits. Of course, they decided not to get her things, but they just declined. Whereas in case of Mr. Srinivas, when Lakshmi talked to him, it is just not that he denied her the support, but it's a negative thing. He said that this is happening with her almost every time. Last time, this is a trivial issue. And you would see that Lakshmi's distress increased, not after her interaction with Vermas, but more after her interaction with Mr. Srinivas. So this is as a result of negative support. When she was denied the support from Verma's, she was only perhaps disappointed. But when she received a negative support from Srinivas, she was distressed. There is a difference.
But in her case, I don't think a stress level was high. Then why should her efforts bring an increase in the stress level?
Here, her distress or her increased stress level after seeking social support is not because of her previous stress level and the effort that she put in, but it is more because of the strategy that she has chosen. She chose a wrong strategy. This is not the strategy she should have chosen to solve simple things like doing the household chores, which are regular. It's her work, her problem, well within her control. So it is the strategy which increased her stress level, but not the effort and the previous stress level.
If everyone starts obliging her, what will be the consequence?
One, this way what happens is her rigid coping style through seeking social support would get reinforced. She will be rigid. She will not attempt at any other strategy of coping for any problem. And she would virtually depend on others for everything. She would ask everyone to do everything for her. And this would lead to what is called a learned helplessness syndrome.
Well, I am convinced that such tendencies should be discouraged in the interest of the individual and the others. But occasional social support seekers like Sunil may be all right.
That is because they use their discretion when they decide on social support. And they would fall back on social support seeking type of coping only after they are completely convinced that the situation is beyond their control and hence they have to seek social support. Thank you.